Hello and good afternoon, and welcome to yet another episode of Better Than Before, live online, live on Facebook. I'm Dave Edelstein. I show up here every Ecuadorian afternoon, and today we have a nice sunny one to talk to you about all things related to mindfulness, relating, communicating, getting along with other people, and making our way through life. Today, I thought I would talk a little bit about what it means to win when we're in a relationship. And in fact, this was inspired by a friend of mine who really won a great victory in the last 24 hours by, in essence, giving up or surrendering. Because when we're in a relationship, it isn't hard to find ourselves in conflict, feeling that we have to fight for our own, represent ourselves, because relationships have a tendency to kind of blur the lines between ourselves and our partner. And all of a sudden, we may find that we feel taken for granted or too blended in with our partner, and that we realize that we have an opinion that differs from our partners, and that we want to express this, and we want to be ourselves, and we want to be respected for being ourselves. And it is always important to have our established boundaries, even with people we love very much. It's very important to have established boundaries and to be able to say where our limits are. It's never good, even in the most intimate of relationships, to feel that you are lost as a person, or that, worse yet, you have no rights. You always have boundaries. You always have rights. You always have the opportunity to speak up and say, you're taking me for granted. You're expecting too much of me. You're requiring me to give too much. You have to tell your partner what your limits are. Too often we assume that, well, they should know. Maybe they should. Maybe they should. Maybe if they were more empathetic, even more caring, they should know that they are pushing you past what most people would consider a limit. But you can't assume this. You have to assert yourself. You have to speak up. Hi, Adam. Hola, Milton. Hola, Freddy. You have to be able to assert yourself and tell your partner where your limits lie. If you don't do this, it's unfair to say, well, you don't care. You aren't giving me what you should. But having said that, and having said that there are limits, and having said that you have every right to be respected and to have limits and boundaries in even your most intimate relationship, there are other things that we fight and argue about almost instinctively, where it's necessary sometimes to let it go. Because when we're in a relationship, we have to not only consider what is a win for us or what is a loss for us, but what will be a loss for our relationship. I remember joking, somewhat sadly, that I had won every argument with a long ago girlfriend, except the one at the end about whether or not we should stay together. Back in those days, I was very argumentative. I felt like it was really important to represent my point of view, my opinion. And eventually I did irreparable damage to our relationship. Because being in a relationship is not about winning your point of view or winning your opinion all the time. It's about doing and thinking what will take this relationship towards our vision of what it should be. I've spoken about this vision idea quite a few times in the last few weeks, because as I think about it, it seems more and more important to me. Where are you trying to go together with your partner? Where do the two of you want to go? It's not your decision alone. It has to be mutual. It has to be something that has been explicitly discussed and agreed upon. You can't just assume that your partner wants to go in the direction that fulfills your dream. Part of your dream now, if you're serious about your relationship, is the preservation, growth, and future of the relationship. If you win your own and cause your partner to lose his or her own, the relationship loses. It's as simple as that. You can't take from your partner and expect your relationship to grow. Yes, there is give and take. If you decide that you really must receive something from your partner, you have to ask for it. You can't just take it. And if it's given, you better be prepared to pay that gift back in some way sometime in the future. You can't just go for the win. It's always about taking one for the team. Because the idea of relationship growth is that you and your partner will be more and more of a team, even as you maintain your clear and separate identities. In a team, in a sports team, for example, every player has his or her role. It's not that they blend into a single, unidentifiable, anonymous unit. Each player gives what they can. Each player does the very best that they can. Because the goal is to achieve wins for the team. It doesn't matter how many points or rebounds or tackles one player scores if the player never wins. If the team never wins, the player never wins. The goal here is to make your team win every time. And this may require surrender on your part. You may have to give up things that, in fact, are less important than the preservation and growth and win for your relationship. And there is a good payoff, because many, many successful people, or one of the things that many, many successful people have in common, is an exceptionally strong relationship with their partner. Because partners should act as each other's coaches. And one of those acts is to encourage each of us to relinquish ego gratification and personal significance in favor of a larger cause. The smallest larger cause you can have is two people. If you think you're going to run out and save the world and move millions, and you can't manage a relationship of two, you're off track. It is what you learn in that relationship of two, what you learn to surrender, that will make it possible for you to be of service to others. So I'll just call this here winning in relationship is winning for the team. It's not extracting wins from your partner. Keep that in mind, and I'll be back tomorrow around this time. Hope you can check in. Thanks so much for checking in. Hola, Angel, Tamara. Hi, Christina. Hope you'll be able to check in tomorrow. If you've liked this, if you think there's value in it, heaven knows, there could be. Please share it around. It helps me get the word out that I'm in the business of helping people. And we'll do it again tomorrow. Thanks so much for checking in. Bye now.